The faucet. It wouldn't shut up.
Did you sleep last night?
No. I'll call Nancy and tell her to call the plumber. Absolute discretion. Can I count on that?
Always.
Raymond Tusk. The president wants to tap him as the new VP. You and I cannot let that happen.
Why not?
Because a third of his fortune is tied up in nuclear energy. Sandcorp does not want a pro-nuclear businessman in the White House.
Market is shifting toward natural gas anyway.
But Tusk wants to stall that shift or reverse it.
Vice President doesn't have that kind of influence.
This one would. He and Walker are very close. And it's in neither of our best interests to see Sandcorp's position in the marketplace diminished.
What's the ask?
Tusk won't accept the nomination if he thinks his holdings are at risk. Sandcorp needs to initiate a hostile takeover.
He's worth 3 times what Sandcorp is.
I'm talking about the subsidiaries. We go after the companies that refine and ship the uranium, the support system.
Come on, Frank. Their stockholders are taking into account a huge financial exposure.
We just need to distract him. Send a few token salvos and intimate there's more to come. All I'm asking is that you speak to your client and see if this is something they might be willing to consider. The president announces Tusk on Friday, so we don't have a lot of time.
Make some calls.
Thank you, Remy. If he doesn't deliver, I'm an invader without an army. If he does, I've got a fighting chance.
I just didn't feel that we could work together constructively any longer. I think that's a perfectly legitimate reason.
Of course it is. But what you can't do is fire someone for being pregnant.
Is that what she's saying?
Miss Cole claims that you said, quote, I need employees, not mothers, and quote, go focus on your baby.
Can I see that? It's completely false. I never said that.
She claims you did.
It's her word against mine, right?
Well, juries are very sympathetic with expecting mothers.
This is extortion.
We don't want this going to trial, Claire. You and your husband are public figures. This will result in some very bad press. I suggest we go back to them with a settlement offer.
We need the arrest record.
There isn't any. They let him go.
Then we need to know who got him off. If Underwood was involved, we are talking abuse of powers and corruption.
I checked. There's no files, no mugshot, nothing.
Then we need to find the cop who pulled him over. Or somebody who saw him come into the station. But DC cops, they look after each other. We need to be careful.
Do you have any sources on the force?
Not that I would trust with something like this.
You know, Lucas started out on the crime beat. I can see if he knows anyone.
Would he help us?
I don't know. Maybe.
Help out a competitor?
We stayed in touch.
You've got to be kidding me. This town is way too incestuous.
I know it's a lot to ask.
I'm still trying to wrap my head around the affair, Zoe.
If you could just give me a contact and maybe vouch for me.
Did you wait to bring this up until now because you thought it'd be harder for me to say no?
What do you mean?
In bed, right after we...
You don't actually think I would do something like
It sure
this?
seems that way.
This is huge, Lucas.
I'm trying to avoid fucking up what we have, whatever that is, and you're making it really hard for me.
I don't know that I'll ever be the kind of person that makes it easy.
Well, I'm not looking for easy, but I don't need to be reminded of him.
I can't erase what I did.
I know you can't, but this is really fucking manipulative.
Did you mean what you said the other night? That you probably... I don't know what to do when I hear something like that. That's why I was so quiet when you drove me to the airport.
I was angry. I just blurted it out. I wish I hadn't, at least not like that.
I'm not trying to take advantage of you because you did.
He hasn't said a word.
And you haven't brought it up.
I just asked him if he was still considering Tusk. He said yes, but that he wanted to speak to you first, that's it.
I wish we knew if they'd spoken at all.
Well, he has his private line. I can't track those calls.
Frank,
Mr. President.
tell me about St. Louis.
He's a hard man to read. I did my best to probe him, but I don't think I left any wiser to which way he's leaning. I must say, though, I think he is by far and away the best candidate.
Why do you say that?
Doesn't it make sense for you to nominate someone you know so well?
I don't know him. That's why I sent you to St. Louis.
Forgive me, Mr. President, I didn't mean it that way. I meant that the world knows so well. You, me, everyone knows Raymond Tusk. We don't need to convince anyone of his worthiness.
But you said he still seems ambivalent?
Which is why I think you should make a personal overture. Invite him to the White House.
Well, I don't want to appear desperate.
I agree with Frank. Inviting him is a very good idea.
If you're serious about Tusk, you should wine and dine him, make him feel very special.
I'm sure we can find time in the schedule.
Let's give him a few more days.
We have less than a week, sir. I wouldn't wait any later than Friday.
We can make Friday work, sir.
All right, well, see if he's available.
What are you doing?
Give me your phone.
Why?
Just give it to me. Have you noticed anything weird in here? Stuff moved around, anything missing?
No.
Anyone following you?
What did you find out?
This is serious, Zoe. It goes way up, as high as the commissioner. I had to beg my contact at Metro to give me this. No record of Russo getting pulled over, but he remembers there was a call girl brought in with Russo. That's a file on one of her previous arrests. I've investigated police cover-ups before. I got death threats for a year. Are you willing to take that risk?
Yeah.
How long?
The next board of directors meeting is 3 weeks from now.
That is too late. Remy, look, the president is going to nominate Tusk in a week or less.
I've urged Scott Cunningham to call a special meeting, but that doesn't happen overnight. There's a lot of machinery in a corporate attack like this.
I want to meet Scott Cunningham myself.
I'm not sitting you down with Scott. You know the rules.
These are extraordinary circumstances.
Frank, Sandcorp's officers do not meet with politicians, period. You talk to me, I talk to Scott Cunningham, and vice versa. That's how it works.
All right, Remy, whatever you think best.
I'll call you when I know more.
Nancy! Of all the things I hold in high regard, rules are not one of them. I will not place my fate solely in the hands of a middleman if I can go directly to the supplier. Book a flight to Atlanta tomorrow morning. Let Meacham know.
Yes, sir. She grew up in Lynchburg, Virginia, went to Lorimer High School until she dropped out sophomore year, and then after that, there's no public record.
But all it says here is that she was fined $300 for loitering on April 2012. One of us has to go to Lynchburg. Parents, classmates, teachers.
I'll do it.
Okay, well then you and I have to call escort services.
I'm willing to lend a hand, but not by making cold calls 12 hours a day just to get hung up on by hookers.
Where was she arrested?
Connecticut Ave.
2460.
That's the address of the District Grand Hotel.
I'm not a fan of surprise visits, Frank.
Remy wouldn't arrange a meeting.
Remy Danton exists, so we don't have to meet.
I needed to speak with you.
There's a congressional travel report that puts you on a trip to Atlanta the same day I was pulled out of an investor's briefing. Those are the sort of coincidences we want to avoid.
Were you briefing your investors on Raymond Tusk? Meacham can be trusted.
Why would I be speaking to them about Tusk?
I thought Remy filled you in.
No.
He didn't say anything about the vice presidential nomination.
He didn't. And I have a feeling I'd rather not be told.
Trust me, you want to know.
I've appeared in front of grand juries before, Frank. It's much easier when you can tell the truth. Please, Don't put me in a position where I have to lie.
If Tusk has the president's ear, you will see this administration shift its support toward nuclear energy and away from natural gas. His subsidiaries and his suppliers go after
Frank,
him.
we should end this conversation right
He
now.
will not accept the nomination if his assets are in a blind trust and he can't fight off the
Okay,
threat.
we're done.
Scott,
I don't want to hear another word. Go back to the airport. Figure out a good reason you needed to be in Atlanta today. You can pull over at the next corner. I'll have my car pick me up.
When Sunday gets blue, her eyes get gray and cloudy.
One last one.
Another.
Begins to fall.
Let me get you something.
White wine?
Put that on my tab.
Thank you.
My pleasure. They're about to call last call.
That's all right. I don't have much of a tolerance.
One more? No, I'm good.
Head upstairs.
I was waiting for you.
Is that the new faucet?
Yeah. How'd it go?
Not good. Remy's up to something. He's not returning my phone calls.
What can I do?
Tell me what you were dreaming.
Oh, it's so awful, Francis.
He's not letting me sleep either.
It's not him, it's the kids. I was playing with them in the backyard, and the girl was climbing on the vines, and I kept telling her to stop and get down, and the vines just took hold of her, and they wouldn't let go. And she was screaming so loud, and I just kept pulling harder and harder, and she just ripped in half.
You wait until after 2 in the morning to return my call. You trying to get my voicemail?
The conversations we're having, we can't be having on cell phones.
Where are you? Claire is sleeping upstairs.
You shouldn't have gone to see Cunningham.
He says you didn't bring up Tusk.
You really think he'd admit to that? If we go through with this, it's insider trading.
He didn't strike me as a man hearing the news for the second time.
You want to believe I'm playing games, I could walk away from the whole thing, but I'm all you've got right now.
I'm the one doing you and Sankope a favor, not the other way around.
I can tell when I'm being used, Frank. I just want to know what for.
I don't use people unless I can throw them away afterwards. I'm trying to strengthen our partnership.
Smells an awful lot like bullshit.
Don't condescend.
8 years I worked on your staff. I never once made it further than your front doorstep. Well, now I'm in your living room, Frank. It's not because of what you taught me. It's because I finally woke up to what my value is and how undervalued I was slaving away for you.
This is business. Keep your sob story to yourself. I want to maintain the influence that I have worked to achieve in the White House, which translates into the influence that you have in the White House through me.
I'll get in touch with Scott again tomorrow, see if we can push this forward faster.
Thank you, Remy.
But you gotta let me do this my way.
The message was very clear. She doesn't want a settlement, no matter what the figure.
Even if we give her Worldwell back.
She wants to go to court. They said we can expect a formal summons next week.
This is ludicrous.
Her lawyers agree. They'd much prefer a settlement too, but she's not playing ball. I'll keep pushing them, but in the meantime, you should start gathering all the correspondence you ever had with her. Emails, notes, every scrap of paper.
Okay, thanks, Oliver.
All I'm trying to do is find her. I've got an arrest record from April 2012, and I know she was pulled over with a client in January.
That girl, she had so much potential.
Why did she drop out?
Like I said, it's an ethical breach for me to discuss anything that has to do...
I spoke to her parents. Her father was very combative. Was there trouble at home? The father, did he...
I won't speak about Rachel.
Can you talk to me about your job in general? The sorts of cases you deal with in an abstract way?
When I'm concerned about a student, especially if there's possible criminal activity involved, it's my duty to contact the DA's office. Now, if the DA pursues charges, the student has to testify against their own parent.
It's a difficult decision for a young person to make.
Extremely difficult. It could be easier to run away.
It's set for tomorrow. Tusk lands at 7:30 and then head straight to the White House for dinner with the president.
Is it on the official schedule?
No.
We need it to be.
Well, I can't do that. The president specifically asked that I leave it off.
Actually, that's good. We can make that work. Can you set up a meeting between Birch and the president?
About what?
So he can give him his 2 cents about who he will nominate.
I don't think we want Birch getting involved.
He'll never get the chance.
What are you planning?
Can you set up a meeting for later today, yes or no?
I'm sure I can squeeze it in.
Good. I'll talk to Birch, get him on the phone. This has to stay off the books, just like the dinner with Tusk.
Okay.
And finally, do you have a scheduler that you can fire?
Janine, I've got something for you.
What is this?
The president's OTR schedule between now and Friday.
How'd you get this?
It doesn't matter. Look who he's meeting with this afternoon.
Bob Birch?
And look at Friday night.
Raymond Tusk. These aren't the craziest meetings for him to be having.
Then why aren't they on the official schedule?
He's considering them for vice president.
I'd say that's reason enough to keep them secret.
Get this out right away.
Mr. Speaker, I'm hearing that you're going to be considered for the vice president.
Slugline is reporting that you're heading to the White House right now.
No.
You're not headed to the White House?
Yes. The president just wants my input.
But there's the possibility that you might be under consideration yourself.
Not that I'm aware of. Excuse me.
How did the schedule get out?
It got leaked, sir, by someone in the scheduling office.
On purpose?
Accidentally, a wrong attachment to an email that went wide.
Well, whoever it was, I want them out.
I already let them go.
Is Birch here yet?
He's waiting outside.
Well, cancel the meeting. Tell him something came up. I don't want to feed the frenzy.
Yes, sir.
Give me the private line, please.
There are 3 satellite trucks on my street. I'm trapped in my own home.
Somebody in the scheduling office fucked up.
Are you seriously considering Birch?
Absolutely not.
We are losing control of the process, Gary.
Every time I've spoken to you, you've never spoken back. Although given our mutual disdain, I can't blame you for the silent treatment. Perhaps I'm speaking to the wrong audience. Can you hear me? Are you even capable of language, or do you only understand depravity? Stop hiding in my thoughts. Come out. Have the courage in death that you never had in life. Come out. Look me in the eye and say what you need to say. There is no solace above or below. Only us, small, solitary, striving, battling one another. I pray to myself, for myself.
Hello? Who is it? My lawyer said I shouldn't be talking to you.
Mine said the same thing.
I'm not going to change my mind, Claire.
I made a mistake. I got upset and I acted impulsively.
I was the one who made the mistake by partnering with you in the first place.
Well, then, can we please both admit that it wasn't meant to be and we can find an amicable way?
No, we can't.
What do you want?
To send a message. Organizations like yours get 90% of the grant money, then cozy up to corporate sponsors who destroy the environment.
The things you're claiming are lies. I never mentioned your pregnancy.
I got in touch with Evelyn Baxter. Remember her? We had a long conversation. It seems that you have a history of axing people who disagree with you. She'll be testifying on my behalf. So will 8 of the people that you made her fire.
If you want an apology, I'm here to offer you one. And to give you whatever you think is fair.
This case is going to get national attention because of who you're married to. I'll have a platform to say what I want to say. That's worth more than anything you could offer.
Listen, I know we have different philosophies, but what we're trying to achieve is exactly the same thing. We shouldn't be fighting each other.
Do you feel that? The kicking? I won't let people like you fuck up the world my child has to live in. If I have to tell a few lies to do that, at least I learned one valuable thing from you.
What can I get for you? Glenlivet. Neat.
The lawsuit.
And other things.
What other thing? You know, I cannot guarantee that all of this is going to succeed.
Oh, it's not that.
You can tell me, or I can keep guessing.
You'll roll your eyes.
How do you?
I was thinking about when one of us dies, whether it's you first or
Well,
me.
if it is me, and I'm sure it will be, you won't be alone for long.
No, I mean, what will we leave behind?
We've accomplished a great deal, and I intend for us to accomplish a lot more.
But for whom?
For each other.
But if we're not... No, I'm being silly.
Have you ever been published?
Many times.
I guess that's a stupid question. You don't seem like a starving artist.
Don't judge a book by its cover. You have a nice laugh.
Really?
It's very attractive.
Are you staying at the hotel?
You want to come up to my room?
That depends.
Well, how much will that cost me?
That seems about right.
Close your eyes. Put out your hands. Now open them up. I'm trying to find this woman. If you make me pull out my badge, I have to take you in. But I don't want to do that. Let's not make a scene.
I used to see her around. She left the business, though. We haven't really kept in touch.
Any idea where she might be?
A friend of mine saw her waiting tables at a restaurant in Georgetown.
I guess the question I'm trying to ask is it even worth that step?
The bottom line is that for a woman your age, it's extremely hard. Have you ever had a miscarriage?
No, I've been late before, but I don't know exactly.
Have you had any abortions?
3.
That can make it more difficult. I'm not trying to dissuade you, but please make sure you think long and hard before you decide.
But it's possible.
Assuming you and your husband fit all the criteria, yes, it's possible.
What? Well, that's hardly my problem, Howard. No, you get on it, isn't it?
I have to call you back. What is it?
Sandcorp stock. It's up 35% in the last 4 hours. It's all over the financial news. Dust is making a play.
Get Remy on the phone.
Congressman Underwood on line 3.
I was just about to call you.
I need to meet with Tusk before he sees the president tonight.
He's already here.
At the White House?
He decided to come in a few hours early. His plane landed half an hour ago.
Do you know where he is?
I don't know. He had his own car pick him up. I just found out.
Remy's not in his office. I left word Narrett on his cell.
Look, you need to call me the moment you know where he is.
Okay.
It's just a lunch menu right now. I hope that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Your server will be with you shortly.
Is Rachel working?
No, I don't think she's scheduled till Sunday. Stephanie will be with you this afternoon.
Thanks. Should we come back Sunday?
I'll be right back.
Who are you calling?
Rachel. Rachel Posner? My name is Zoe Barnes. I'm a reporter at slugline.com.
I know about Peter Russo. Rachel? Come on, Rachel.
Shouldn't have mentioned Russo.
She'll write back.
I wouldn't if I was her.
How much do you know?
That you were with him when he was pulled over.
Who else knows?
Just me. I can keep it that way, but I need more.
There is no more.
You're lying.
Yeah, I was with him when he got pulled over. They took him away and let me go. I don't know what happened to him.
He was never charged.
You know more than me then.
No one ever came to talk to you.
About what?
To keep you quiet.
You don't kiss and tell in that business.
Not even when it's a congressman?
Especially when it's a congressman.
Frank Underwood never approached you.
Who's that?
You're too smart to play dumb, Rachel. You know who that is.
Name rings a bell. I try not to follow the news. Too many familiar faces.
How about Douglas Stamper?
Never heard of him. I've told you everything I know.
I know about what your father did. If you don't help me, I'll write about Russo. I'll write that you were a prostitute, and I'll write about why you left home.
Go to town, bitch.
So?
She mentioned both you and your boss.
What exactly?
She didn't say. All she seemed to know is that I was in the car with him when he got pulled over.
And you didn't admit to more than that?
No, I said everything exactly like you told me to. You really think I'd spill my guts?
Calm down.
Why didn't you tell me he was gonna hurt himself? I never would have done it.
How could I have known?
I just want all this to go away.
It will. All of it. I promise.
Do you want me to order you dinner?
Where's Doug at?
I don't know. He left early.
Call him for me, will you?
Yes, sir.
13 minutes from now, Tusk will meet with the president if he isn't there already. You've never been an ally, have you? Pressing on with your slow, incessant march. Time would have killed Russo if I hadn't. Just as it will kill me someday, kill us all.
Sir? I just got Doug's voicemail.
I wonder where he's at. Well, maybe this is him. Freddie?
Sorry, Frank, I had to trade up. Sandcorp's a big fish, but Raymond Tusk is a whale.
get you something, Frank?
Nothing right now, thank you, Freddie.
I'll leave y'all to it.
I hope you don't mind that Remy told me about this little secret of yours. I wanted a place where you'd feel comfortable.
Shouldn't you be at the White House?
How could I pass up the chance to eat the best ribs in Washington?
Remy told you about Sancorp.
As of closing bell today, I own 3%. By the end of next week, I'll own over 10. Enough to make sure they can't cause me any trouble. A valiant effort, though. I respect that.
So why are we here?
I told you I'd give you until today to think things over. I'm a man who keeps my word.
And I'm still not interested.
You wanted me to be more specific back in St. Louis.
That would be a good start.
Why did Britain go to war with China 150 years ago?
I'm in no mood for riddles.
Humor me a moment.
Opium.
It's bigger than opium, Frank. That was simply the excuse. Peking wanted to call the shots instead of the West. It's the same problem we're facing now. But nobody wants a trade war, much less a military one.
And what's your opium?
Samarium-149. I need it for my reactors. China controls 95% of the world's supply.
And you're worried about the imbalance in our currency, our foreign debt.
All of it.
You already have the president's ear.
Trade tariffs are controlled by Congress. You have a lot more influence there than Garrett does. It's the reason I wanted you to stay there in the first place.
And what exactly would you want me to do?
Well, that part I don't know yet. We'll have to wait and see how things play out with the Chinese.
I've already told you I will not do a blank check.
I must say I'm surprised, Frank. You have a reputation for pragmatism.
And I also have avoided a reputation for indentured servitude.
I never make an offer more than twice, Frank. Tell me now if I can count on your cooperation.
You're not offering cooperation. You're demanding tutelage. So let me make you a proposal. I am absolutely willing to work together as equals. I will take your opinion seriously, just as the president does, but I will not bind myself to them in advance. If that doesn't interest you, fair enough. Good luck finding a vice president in the next 4 days who will prove as pragmatic as I. You can't purchase loyalty, Raymond, not the sort I have in mind. If you want to earn my loyalty, then you have to offer yours in return. And if we can agree to that, well, you're a man with imagination.
Wait.
If Stamper was there himself, this goes much deeper than a lost arrest file.
Well, let's think about this. What did Russo gain him?
A mansion in Harrisburg.
Underwood thinks bigger than that.
Then what?
Don't know.
He controls Pennsylvania. He has influence in the White House. Walker needs the state for
No.
re-election.
No, it can't just be Walker. The president backstabbed him for the Secretary of State nomination. It has to be something else.
The president would owe him.
But what? They already meet once a week. The education bill, and what specifically?
He could be after the VP nomination.
That doesn't make sense, though. The VP slot is on the table because Russo tanked. Underwood wanted him to win.
Unless he didn't. Maybe he wanted Russo to self-destruct.
To force Matthews to run.
Exactly. And then next week, when Matthews wins...
The president taps Underwood.
Mr. President. Mr. Tusk.
Thanks for coming on such short notice. Have a seat, Frank. I have a confession to make. Raymond and I have known each other for years. We don't publicize it, but he's been a trusted advisor to me. And I sent you to St. Louis so that he could spend time with you. Give me his 2 cents.
On what, sir, if I may ask?
Offering you the vice presidency.
I told the president that, in my humble opinion, both he and the country would be well served by a man as experienced, intelligent, and loyal as you.
So, I'm officially asking Frank.
Sir, I don't know what to say.
Say yes.
Yes. It would be a great honor, Mr. President. Meet you. I take care of my own, and you proved yourself to be very valuable. I would like you to be part of my security detail once I get confirmed.
That's the Secret Service, sir. I'm Capitol Police.
Then I'll put you on the Secret Service, if you're interested.
I'd be more than interested, sir.
Good.
And I'm extremely grateful.
Keep being valuable. That's the best way to show your gratitude.
I will, Mr. Vice President.
Did the plumber finally come?
No, I fixed it. Francis. So proud of you, Francis.
I didn't do it alone.
I got here as quickly as I could. Something wrong?
I need you to be completely honest with me, Christina.
About what?
The other day when I said that you should tell me if anyone from the press started harassing you. Zoe Barnes?
You said you wanted to talk about something on the phone.
Oh, no, that can wait.
Oh, come on, tell me.
Earlier today, the rowing machine I saw is broken.
Oh, it's my fault. The cable broke. I haven't been able to replace it yet.
What about going for a run with me?
She's trying to smear Congressman Underwood. It's a coordinated campaign by everyone at Slugline.
But she knew things.
Like what?
About Peter. Something to do with Kern losing the nomination.
And?
Want me to drive alongside you, sir?
No, you stay here.
Yes, sir.
You ready?
Yes.
you.